All right, folks. Hey, right here. This is House Bill 129, the Defend the Guard Act in the state of Tennessee. This is a bill that would have protected the Tennessee National Guardsmen from being sent into unconstitutional and undeclared wars. And right here on this document, on this official document from the Tennessee Legislative official website, is the name of State Representative Rick Eldridge. Rick co-sponsored this bill. He told you that he stood with Tennessee troops, with the Tennessee National Guard. He told you he believed in the Constitution, and he told you that he would fight for what's right.
Now I want to recognize Chairman Eldridge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, we've talked about this bill for 30 minutes. We've heard from both sides. So, Madam Chair, I would make a motion that this bill go to a true summer study.
Objection.
But when it mattered most, Rick Eldridge folded. Instead of standing up and voting yes for his own bill that he co-sponsored, Eldridge used a sneaky legislative trick to kill the bill. He sent it to what politicians call a summer study, which means that it's not going to see the light of day again this year. Rick Eldridge didn't just change his mind. He betrayed Tennessee troops. Folks, this isn't leadership. This is cowardice. This is betrayal. And this is a man who lied to you.
I know there's a lot of passion here for this, and I think it does need to be looked at very seriously.
Too much passion, Representative? We need more study? No, Rick, you had all the information you needed. You just didn't have the backbone to vote for it.
If this legislation is passed, the OD will view that as an unwillingness for us to use those resources. Those people will simply go somewhere else. Those resources can be moved and will be allocated. We're putting that at risk.
And why did Rick Eldridge betray Tennessee? Because he was bribed with a C-130 joyride offered by none other than Lieutenant Colonel Brian Salatka, the legislative director from the Department of Military Affairs in Tennessee. Don't believe me? I've got the receipts, and if anybody wants to dispute it, I'll show you the proof. Lieutenant Colonel Salatka was flustered in a caucus meeting when he was confronted by the bill's own co-sponsor. He panicked and he resorted to a bribe. A cheap ride on a military aircraft was all it took for Rick Eldridge to turn his back on the people of Tennessee. Make no mistake, the National Guard Bureau and the War Lobby are terrified of the Defend the Guard Act because it does exactly what our founding fathers intended. It puts the power to declare war back in the hands of Congress, not unelected bureaucrats. So instead, they lie about funding. They spread fear. And when that wasn't enough, they bought off old Rick Eldridge with an airplane ride. And instead of fighting back, he bent the knee. Rick Eldridge is Tennessee's Benedict Arnold. He sold his soul for federal subsidies. His oath wasn't to the Constitution. It was to Washington, D.C.'s checkbook. Rick Eldridge refused to meet with me. I went all the way to Nashville, Tennessee to meet with him and other co-sponsors of the bill. He sat through a meeting and then refused to entertain any further questions or a meeting in his office. Rick Eldridge refused to ask questions about federal funding that would have provided the right answers and helped buttress his own position on his own bill. Rick Eldridge refused to stand for the Constitution, and Rick Eldridge refused to be a man of his word. But here is what Rick Eldridge cannot refuse. In 2026, the people of Tennessee will surely know what Rick Eldridge has done. We will not be lied to, we will not be ignored, and we will not be played. Eldridge had his chance. He failed. And now a time has come to educate his voters about what he did with their voice. Folks, share this video. Spread the word. It's time to let Tennessee know all about Rick Eldridge.